Hello, everybody, and welcome to this journal author interview. I'm Don Finn. I serve as editor of the COABE Journal, and it is my pleasure to highlight one of the articles and talk with one of the authors of one of those articles that is in our Professional Development in Adult Education edition. The title of the article is Formalizing Mentorship in Adult Education and Beyond. And we are joined by Kelly Metz-Matthews. So, Kelly, thank you for being here. And if you wouldn't mind, could you tell us a thing or two about yourself?
I would love to. Well, thank you again for having me here. I'm thrilled to talk about this work. I am Kelly Metz-Matthews, as you said. I am English as a second language faculty at the San Diego College of Continuing Education. I also am one of our assistant program chairs, and I serve as the site coordinator for a mentorship program. So I'm just thrilled to be able to talk more about mentorship.
Kelly, thank you so much. That's great. And of course, this article you co-wrote with a colleague, Alexandra Doria, and we appreciate her contributions as well. Sorry she couldn't join us for this, but let me ask you a question. Why did you write this article for the COABE Journal?
Goodness, so very many reasons, but we're limited on time. So I'll share just a couple that I think were really salient for us. I think first and foremost, we felt like we all had a sort of intuitive understanding that mentorship played an important role in not just our professional lives, but our lives generally. So we had all of this anecdotal experience and we had been through mentorship programs, but we thought, what does this look like in a formalized capacity? What does it look like when you take all of these benefits that we anecdotally knew were there in informal mentoring contexts? What does it look like when you formalize them in adult education spheres? So we dove into the literature. We started spending more time with mentors and mentees to really talk about the ways that mentorship was impacting them. And I think we wanted to share what we learned. We learned not only that you can leverage the benefits of informal mentorship in formalized contexts, but that there are additional benefits to having mentorship programs in formalized contexts. And we were just excited to share what we learned because we believed not only did it have the ability and likelihood of positively impacting educators, but eventually that would trickle down to their students. And that felt like something worthwhile of sharing.
Yeah, that's great, and actually, kind of leads into my next question because the student factor is something that's very important to us here at COABE. And so, if you could kind of flow into how will the practitioners benefit from this, and again, what would the benefit be specifically and particularly on their learners?
Um, Great. I think there are a lot of things we could talk about. I think what I'll talk about is the fact that when we dove into the literature and when we started examining specific cases of mentorship programs, we found, and I think this is what readers of the journal will find in our article as well, we found that formalized mentorship not only helps us develop and cultivate connections, deep connections with our colleagues, but that there are benefits not just to mentees. We talk oftentimes about the benefits of being mentored, but also to mentors. There are benefits to actually mentoring others, to thinking through things, to articulating them, to teach. We know there are benefits to teaching. We learn better when we teach a thing. So we think that readers will see those things. We think that they will also see that there are inherent leadership benefits to mentorship, even if it isn't specifically a leadership mentorship program, that we have the ability to cultivate and develop leadership pipelines through mentorship. And that's, I think, really valuable. And then, of course, there are really specific benefits, like the fact that we improve our retention rates when we mentor our faculty. And when we improve retention rates of faculty, we have faculty who are more integrated into our institutions, and we have educators who are more integrated into their programs. And that, I think, matters a lot because more integrated faculty, educators, teachers of all types are going to have deeper connections with their students by virtue of understanding their institutions and programs and schools better. and being able to provide better resources and classroom praxis to their students. So I think that those are some of the things that that readers will walk away with. They'll walk away with an understanding of what mentorship really brings to us as educators, and how that then, again, I mentioned earlier, that sort of trickles down to students, how having faculty or teachers or other educators who are in our institutions and our programs for longer periods of time because they've had mentors, how that is going to improve classroom praxis and help develop students who are meeting student learning outcomes to much higher degrees.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And that was evident in your piece. And I think also the ideas of not only building connections with those that are with them, but building those connections and that knowledge and understanding of their programs, of their institutions, and so on. And so I'm curious then, you covered quite a bit already, but do you have anything else, additional comments that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Goodness. Well, I think there are a couple of takeaways just for me personally. And if Doria were here, she'd probably have a few of her own. But I'll say that to me, if I were to, I of course hope everyone reads the entire article. But if I said there was just one section that I think is really valuable to us, it's that leadership piece. We are often, and we wrote about this in the article, we are often as educators malleable and flexible and dynamic. We have traits that translate into leadership, strong leadership often, but not every trait that makes a great educator translates into being a great leader. And so I think mentorship offers us a particularly salient opportunity in that regard, because we so often find these subject matter experts, us educators, in positions of leadership by virtue of having been at our institutions or involved in our programs for many years. And then suddenly we find ourselves in positions of leadership that challenge us because we haven't developed those capacities, those skills, those competencies. And so one of the things I think is really important about understanding formalized, in particular, trajectory-focused mentoring is that it has the ability to help us take our incredibly skilled educators and develop them into leaders, and to then use that to strategically develop more diverse, inclusive leadership pipelines. So if I were to say there's one thing that I think is really important, I think it's that. I think it's that we get to leverage the benefits of mentorship, not just for educators, but for leaders as well.
Kelly, thank you so much. Yeah, that's very insightful, and I think that as your article demonstrates, the idea of official or of formalized mentoring and the impact that it has on leadership, they're definitely great benefits. So again, Kelly Metz-Matthews and Alexandra Doria, the article is Formalizing Mentorship in Adult Education and Beyond, and that is found in the Professional Development edition of the COABE Journal. To locate the COABE Journal, you can go to coabe.org, click on the journal link, and it'll give you options for downloading this article or the entire journal, as well as our archives. So thank you to our viewers. Thank you for taking the time to view this video and to learn more about this. And again, visit coabe.org to download the edition to learn about this article and others. Until next time, thank you so much and stay well.